Hey, welcome to Man Kitchen Recipes. I'm Kevin, and today I used the ASMOKE AS360, the battery-operated pellet grill. I took it to NASCAR, we used it, we made burgers, and I forgot to recharge it. So I had to turn it so I could plug it in. Worked great. I used the ASMOKE apple pellets. What I do, yeah, so I've got some beef jalapeno poppers. Now I'm going to show you how I made these, but I got to tell you the reason why I made these is because I went to NASCAR with a bunch of non-pork eaters. None of them liked pork. So, I mean, all the way down to using lard. They won't eat anything that has lard in it. I'm like, well, how do they enjoy jalapeno poppers if they don't like pork? Well, and I realized not everybody likes pork. So, that gave me the idea for these. Let me show you how I made them. We'll come back out. I'll do a taste test. Right, so for these beef poppers, I've got a chuck roast here, and I'm going to slice it this way against the grain. Against the grain. And see if I can't get some nice strips to wrap around my jalapenos, instead of using bacon. So, yeah, I figured a chuck roast might be really good for that because this one's nice and marbly. We got some fat in there. I'll do a couple of cuts to see if I got it as thin as I want. Okay, so I got some slices, and some of these, I think they're a little thick. They're a little stringy with the fat in between, but I'm taking my ManKitchen mallet. We're going to flatten them out and make them a little bit longer. Look at that. And they could be thinner because, the chuck is probably only going to cook for a couple hours. So if they're thin, the chuck should tender up and be nice for these poppers. All right, the poppers. And for the jalapenos, I just got some store-bought. I am going to lop off the lids just like that because I don't want to eat that. You can leave it on if you want, just don't eat it, obviously. Cut them in half. Take a small spoon, and actually if you start on this end, you can kind of stop it right there so that your cheese doesn't ooze out that end, okay? Just like that. If you like them really hot, leave some of the membranes in, leave some of the seeds. I personally don't like eating the seeds. They're a little tough to chew on. Membrane, yeah, not bad. If you want them hot, leave it in there. Just try to empty out some of the seeds. All right, for the filling, I'll do 1 block of softened cream cheese. I can get it off of this packet. It's pretty soft. All right, I'm going to use a big handful of Chihuahua cheese. You can use cheddar cheese or pepper jack, whatever you like. I really like this cheese, so it's going to be roughly a cup of cheese. Shredded cheese. And one thing I really like to put in my poppers is this Meat Church Texas sugar. Now, not only is this very flavorful, it has a little bit of spice. And when you're doing jalapeno poppers, if your jalapenos are hot, I'm probably going to put about a tablespoon in here. If your jalapenos are hot, the sugar and honey and salt and paprika and everything that's in here helps, cools it off a little bit. Not that it cools it, but it gives it some really good flavor. So that's what I like to use. You can use barbecue rub, you can use salt, pepper, garlic, whatever you like in these. All right, got my meat flattened out a little bit. I added some salt, pepper, garlic to them. Again, you can use whatever barbecue sauce or spice that you like. And so what we're going to do now is get some of that cream cheese filling and fill in your jalapeno popper. You don't have to overfill it unless you want it overfilled. Cream cheese seems to puff up when it cooks, so I usually like to go a little bit over. And let's see. All right, this this beef is wide enough. It looks like we're just going to go right around, and there you go. And I'm going to set these on a wire rack, and then we'll get these onto the pellet grill. All right. I'm going to make about a dozen, maybe more. So I'm not going to make you watch this whole thing. You're welcome. So yeah, just roll your popper up in the fat and beef and everything, and hopefully the idea is this beef will and the fat will render while it's cooking. We're going to smoke these for at least 2 hours, and if the meat doesn't look like it's cooked, well, we'll go longer. And I'm just thinking, we'll see how it goes. I might need to put toothpicks in these because, you know, bacon shrinks up around. I'm not sure what this chuck roast is going to do. All right, so I'll be back as soon as we get these wrapped up. All right, I ended up getting 16 poppers. I sprinkled a little bit more salt, pepper, garlic on top of these, and they're ready for the grill. I got them on a baking tray, feet up, so we can move them around if we need to on the grill. They won't get stuck. I do have leftover chuck that when I was cutting it, they were too small, but that will definitely not go to waste. Those are going to end up in some tacos or something. Anyway, let's get these out on the ASMOKE AS360 pellet grill, the battery operated one. Okay, here's the ASMOKE AS360. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can block some of the sunlight. I'm running at 250. It's falling because it's windy here and the vents are in the back, but that's okay. I'm using ASMOKE, the applewood pellets, because those work the best in this pellet grill. I've used some other ones. It runs a little hot, so we're going to do these at 250, probably. Look at that. Fits just right. Whew, I guess I should have checked that, but it worked. So we're going to do these at 250, probably 2 hours minimum. Not only do we want a nice soft jalapeno, but we want this beef to cook well, render well, and not be all chewy and pulley and all of that. So I got it kind of thick. We pounded it flat. So yeah, let's get this going. I'll see you probably in a minute, second, whatever. Okay, so I had to change my ASMOKE because I had to plug it in. My battery, I went to NASCAR and used up my battery and I forgot. So luckily you can plug these in, and I'm at home. I didn't get the battery charged before this smoke. It's been on here for 2 hours. Probably can't see that. I keep coming out here with the glare. Let's see, 250 set, it's 255. Here's what we're looking at right there. Oh boy, look at that. Okay, now this is chuck roast, so I'm afraid it may be for 2 hours. They're thin. Hopefully they're not too chewy. You know, I mean, you could, if you want to spend the money on a ribeye or something, man, you could wrap a ribeye, thin ribeye steak around these. But for today, for these beef poppers, beef jalapeno poppers, I think that'll work. We may have to eat them with a knife and a fork, but that's okay. I'm going to get these off, just let them cool just maybe 10 minutes because this cheese will be really hot. Then we'll do a taste test. Look at that. I gotta tell you, those do look mighty good. Okay. Okay, so what do you think of that? Yeah, I used a chuck roast. I know it's a tougher piece of meat. Hopefully these won't be so tough. That's what one looks like right there. I did try to stick a little temp probe in there. They were probing right about 160. 2 hours at 250 degrees on the little battery operated that I had plugged in. It did work great out at NASCAR though. Okay, so let's see if this works, or see if I'm gonna need a fork and a knife. The big cheese sticking out the side. That actually worked. Not too chewy. I was afraid it was going to be too chewy because it's, you know, because of being chuck. Look at that. I just stuffed the cheese back in. That was sticking out the side. Very, very tasty. If you don't like pork, you can use chuck. I thought about using a ribeye, but gosh, they're so expensive these days. And if you partially freeze your meat, you can use a knife and slice it. I had a meat cutter. I had a little issue there with my cutting board, but yeah. Wow, these are really good. Telling you. Get you some of that meat church Texas sugar too. Very flavorful. And goes really, really good with the jalapenos. And these jalapenos do have a little kick to them, even from the store. So sometimes I get them, they're like bell peppers. Anyway, I know I make a lot of poppers. This one is different. Made with beef. I got to use my mallet, my ManKitchen mallet. I think that helped too, tenderizing it and flattening it out even thinner so I could roll these up. And yeah, went great. Didn't use a toothpick, they stayed on. So yeah, give these a try, even if you like pork. These are delicious. All right, thanks for checking this out. I hope you have a great day. Very good.